Before 8 o'clock here on Sunday Morning Live, it is Sunday, April the 24th. And you can't see me at home clearly, but I'm sitting a little bit lower in the studio right now. Hi, Dave Tripp. I can see over a little bit over here. But that's because I've got a great chair, which is called the Corechair. And we're going to talk about this with the founder and the guy that invented this. But first of all, let's talk about why the Corechair was invented. So Patrick Harrison joining us this morning. Morning, Pat. How are you?
Good morning, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate you coming in and bringing the chair as well. I didn't know you were going to bring the chair, but this is fantastic.
The full experience.
Before we talk about the chair itself, let's talk about, I guess, kind of, you almost want to call it an epidemic of what's happening with people at work these days. 8 to 10 hour work days, sitting for most of them. Kind of take us through some of the numbers and really the issue facing a lot of people at work every single day now.
Yeah, it's a very good starting point. The reality is it's not just the 8 to 10 hours that we sit at the office. It's the fact that when we get up in the morning, we sit and have breakfast, we drive to work sitting, we sit throughout the day using our brains, we drive home at the end of the day, we sit and have dinner, and then we sit and watch other people being active on TV. So the reality is that we're really only active 3 out of 24 hours. So sedentary issues is a big impact on our health in general, but there's also the impact on our musculoskeletal system or our back pain. And the back pain thing, 80% of our population has had at least one significant back problem in their lifetime, and almost 30% of the population is currently seeking some kind of therapeutic intervention.
Okay. Yeah, those numbers are high.
Staggering.
That's those numbers are a little bit, I didn't even know the numbers were that bad when it comes to the back issues. And so, again, for you, watching that happen and watching this, was that kind of your inspiration to kind of come up with the Corechair for you, being a kinesiologist and watching all of this happen? Was that where the inspiration came for this chair?
Well, my previous world, I had a successful business designing seating solutions for persons that were dependent on wheelchairs for their mobility. And that population had to sit all day long out of necessity. And so came up with a lot of good solutions in that environment. So about 8 years ago, started noticing not just the fact that people were chained to their desk, but the fact that people were kind of intuitively taking an exercise ball to the office to replace their ergonomic office chair because they knew that they needed movement. So that kind of inspired the whole thing. And so we incorporated a lot of the things that we learned from the wheelchair seating designs and spent a lot of time working on a mechanism that would allow this kind of fluid movement.
Okay, so 8 years, right? It
Yes.
took, I think I read, for development of the Corechair. So tell us about the Corechair. And I'm sitting in one right now, and to describe it to someone, post a picture on our Facebook page. But it's shorter, but it's formed for you. But the back there's no arms on it, and the back is lower, right? It sits right at your lower back.
Right.
So talk about the design and coming up with this and why, and it moves, and it kind of can go back and forth. I can loosen it to go kind of back and forth, and it really engages I can actually feel it sitting here I've been sitting in it for a couple of minutes, and I can feel my core already being engaged. But talk about the chair and coming up with it.
Yeah, I was going to say, Matt, you're looking pretty ripped already. Yeah, so basically when we came to designing the seating, again, we were kind of applying the things that we learned previously in the wheelchair seating world and kind of took a noble disregard for current office chair designs because it's been around for 150 years, tall back, flat seat, and armrests. And then the question was, why do we have those things? And we have them because we've always had them. So we just assume that that's a standard. So basically, when you get back to it, the reality is that we need to have a good foundation. Just like our shoes, we need to have a good base for our bottom when we're sitting. So the idea was to have a sculpted seat and a low back that supports the pelvis, basically embraces it, and it prevents you from slumping, which is one of the big causes of back pain when you're sitting. So then the idea was to have that surface very comfortable, very supportive, and a mechanism underneath it that you can change the resistance and move it through 14 degrees of motion in any direction.
Which kind of doesn't seem like a lot for maybe 14 degrees, but I can tell you, once you're on it and you're moving back and forth, when it's completely loose, then you can move just about any which way. So it's great. And I guess, tell me about the feedback from it so far. I know you launched, was it last year that you guys launched?
Yeah, we're at the SmartWay show this weekend,
yep.
And we launched it at the Kathy's SmartWay show last year.
Okay.
Same time. So we've been 1 year on the market. First year is really making sure that we can get consistent quality, build our team, and know what our messaging is. The feedback has been phenomenal. We have probably the greatest feedback we have unsolicited is people contacting us saying, you've resolved my back problems, or I'm not going to my chiropractor as much as I should or did previously. So back issues is the big thing. The whole sedentary thing is kind of like the frog in the beaker. It's the slow heat, and you don't know you've got a problem until it's slapping you in the head.
Yeah, no, exactly. So Pat Harrison from the Corechair joining us here this morning on Sunday Morning Live. We're talking about the Corechair and the invention of this chair. Now, I know that, let's do that first before we talk about the development of this and where you want to go with it. It's not just about the chair, right? It's about being able to, I know there were a bunch of other tips that you have for people that to kind of get up and go and move, like, right? So take us through some of those tips for people that do sit all day. What are some of the things that they can do other than having something like the Corechair? What are the things they should be doing 2 or 3 things a day to kind of keep going and stop being so sedentary?
Great point. I think probably the key thing is the sedentary issue is really significant. It affects our blood regulation, our glucose regulation. It affects our lymphatic system. It affects a lot of things that really potentially lead to disease processes. So we do need to get moving. What I encourage is that you park further from the entrance to your door, to your office, so that you can walk a little further. You take the stairs instead of the elevator. When you're in your office, you get up as often as possible. Drink a lot of water, because then you got to go to the bathroom a little more often.
Yeah.
So any excuse to get moving. I encourage sit-stand workstations so that you're always changing your position throughout the day. And whether you're sitting or standing, we still need to move. So standing as the alternative to sitting is only a bit of a smokescreen, because you still need to move. Otherwise, you're still sedentary.
Mm-hmm. So that can be like anything, right? From like doing like a few squats at your desk to just kind of like just move for a minute, or just do something even just around your desk, right?
Totally. Just get up and if you've got a call that's coming in on your cell phone, walk around while you're talking on the phone. Try to just incorporate subtle movements throughout your day. The Mayo Clinic, which recently just completed a study on the Corechair, they have a whole program called NEAT, Non-Exercise Activation Thermogenesis. And really it's incidental movement. So any opportunity that we have to increase our caloric output slightly, then we can start stimulating our metabolic system, and that's what we really need to do.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what is the goal, right, for all of this and for this entire stuff, which is great. So the Corechair, I know. Okay, hold on. You were on The Big Bang Theory, or tell me about that. Did I see that, or it's coming up in an episode of The Big Bang Theory?
Well, we've been doing a whole bunch of different things. We actually were on The Dragons that aired in February, and that's the question that I usually field the most, because we didn't do a deal, but man, it was really fantastic exposure, and we had a lot of really good business out of that.
Awesome.
And we've shot on a number of different TV shows, to be aired or not to be aired, to be determined.
Yep.
We've been getting a lot of really good exposure. We've had, probably most importantly, is that it's an evidence-based design. So we've collaborated with the University of Waterloo, with the Mayo Clinic.
I was going to say the Mayo Clinic, which is a huge one. Good for you guys. That's fantastic.
And we had really good results.
Awesome.
And then we also have done quite a bit of work now with Cornell University. And we've got a study out of Guelph University that's coming up very soon, and another study on back pain coming out of Memorial University. So we've got a lot of really good evidence that supports that this chair, while it's very different, it's very effective.
Yeah, it's called the Corechair. I'm going to keep this one. No, I'm just bugging. I'm not going to keep this one. If you want to have a check, if you want to check it out, try sitting in it. You want to get down to the Shaw Center today to the Live the Smart Way Expo, because you will be able, right? People can come down, try
Absolutely.
it out.
Yep.
Okay, good to know. We're going to post some of the information on our Facebook page as well. But Pat Harrison, who's the owner, founded and owns the Corechair. It's fantastic stuff. Pat, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it. And have fun today. I know there's probably going to be, I'm sure there's lots of interest already, and I'm sure there's hopefully going to be some more.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
We will take a short break for the news here. This is Sunday Morning Live on News Talk 580 CFRA.